As the third and final example of solving boundary value problems using finite difference approximation, we will consider this ODE and these boundary conditions. We have described these before. Now, this problem is interesting because we have for the first time a nonlinear ODE because of the presence of this term. The ODE is second order. So we have second order nonlinear ODE here. And in this particular problem, both the boundary conditions are specified in terms of derivatives. So this is somewhat different than problem 1 and problem 2. In problem 1, both the boundary conditions were given in terms of the dependent variable. In the second problem, the left boundary condition was given in terms of the dependent variable and the right boundary condition was given in terms of the derivative of the dependent variable. Here, both the boundary conditions at x is equal to 0 and at x is equal to 1 are specified in terms of derivatives of the dependent variable. But this does not pose too many complications for us. We just apply what we learned earlier and we can make progress. What we will do here is we will write the finite difference approximation of the ODE at all the grid points, at the internal grid points as well as the boundary grid points. We have to write the ODE representation in terms of the finite difference approximation at both the boundary points because here the dependent variable is not known at the boundary points. The boundary conditions are given in terms of the derivatives of the dependent variable. So what we need to do here is we have to write the ODE in terms of its finite difference approximation at both the boundary points as well. And we will also use the boundary conditions to get the equations that will complete the solution to the problem. For purposes here, I'm going to choose h is equal to 1 by 3. That means I'm going to choose overall 4 grid points. So I'm choosing n is equal to 3 here, so that h is equal to 1 by n is equal to 1 by 3 here. And since n is equal to 3, the number of grid points is n plus 1, which is equal to 4. So the grid points are like so. X is equal to 0 will be referred to as location x1. X is equal to 0.333 or 1 by 3 will be denoted by x2, and x is equal to 0.666 or 2 by 3 will be indicated by the symbol x3. So the gap between any of the two successive x's will be h is equal to 1 by 3. So 1 by 3 plus 1 by 3 plus 1 by 3 is the entire domain. So for this choice of h, we have a total of 4 grid points with x2 and x3 being the internal grid points, and we have x1 and x4 as the boundary grid points. So what we do is we take the ODE and we represent it in terms of the finite difference approximation at the internal grid point x2. So when we do that, we get this equation. This is the approximation for the second derivative with truncation error of the order of h squared. This is the finite difference approximation for the first derivative with truncation error of the order of h squared. And since we are talking about the grid point x2 where the value of y is y2, therefore 2y squared in the ODE gets replaced by 2y2 squared because we are looking at the equation at the grid point x2. So y1 is the value of y at x1, y2 is the value of y at x2, y3 is the value of y at x3, y4 is the value of y at x4. So we get this. This is equation A. Now we can do the same thing at internal grid point x3. So we repeat that. I will not go into the details of that. You can simply work it out and then you will get equation B. Now, if you take the boundary condition at x is equal to 0, boundary condition 1, it is given that dy by dx at x is equal to 0. That means at x1, because x is equal to 0 is denoted by the symbol x1. So dy by dx at x1 is equal to 6 times y minus 1. This is the boundary condition that is given. So I can replace dy by dx by its central difference approximation. So I can write dy by dx as y2 minus y0 divided by 2h. So this has a truncation error of the order of h squared, and it goes very well with the other truncation errors we have seen in the ODE. and that is going to be equal to 6 times y1 minus 1. We replace y by y1 because we are talking about x is equal to x1 here, and therefore y should be replaced by y1. So in doing this boundary condition, we have exploited the boundary condition, but we have introduced a symbol y0. So that is going to be a fictitious or a pseudo grid point that you will see in the succeeding slides. Boundary condition 2, which is given as dy by dx at x is equal to 1. That means at x4, x is equal to x4 is given to be equal to 0. So dy by dx can be replaced by its finite difference approximation. In fact, a central difference approximation, which has a truncation error of the order of h squared. You can write it as y5 minus y3 by 2h is equal to 0. Here, because y5 minus y3 by 2h is equal to 0, we can write y5 is equal to y3. So that becomes an equation. Yes, we have handled the boundary condition at x4, but in so doing, we have introduced a symbol y5, which is not there in the physical domain. So we have to introduce a fictitious grid point or a pseudo grid point on the right hand side as well. So because the boundary conditions at both extremes of this reactor are given in terms of derivatives, we will have a fictitious node or a grid point at the left boundary, and we will have a fictitious node or a pseudo node at the right boundary as well. And therefore we have these symbols y5 for the right boundary and y0 for the left boundary. And this is what I mean. All right. So the value of y at the fictitious point x is equal to x0 is y0. The value of y at the fictitious point x is equal to x5 is y5. Y0 and Y5 are there only for mathematical convenience. They are not physically present in the reactor. The reactor starts at x is equal to 0 and ends at x is equal to 1. That means the real physical system has only x1 as the left boundary and x4 as the right boundary. We are just extending it on both sides to handle the derivative boundary conditions. So if you look at the equations A, B, C, and D, we have 6 symbols, as you can see: y0, y1, y2, y3, y4, and y5. So we have 6 symbols, and we have assembled 4 equations, equations A, B, C, and D. So we are short of 2 equations. And we know we can generate those 2 equations by invoking the ODE at the boundary grid points as well. So the technical term for this is to make the residual 0 at the boundary grid points. Basically, we are saying you have to apply the ODE and its finite difference approximation at the boundary grid points as well. Wherever the boundary grid points have derivatives, we have to represent the ODE in terms of its finite difference approximation in order to get the equations required to completely solve the problem. So like we did for the internal grid points x2 and x3, we can also represent the ODE in terms of the finite difference approximations at the boundary grid point x1 when we will get equation E, and at the boundary grid point x4 when we will get equation F. So now we have equations A, B, C, D, E, F, and we also have 6 symbols y0 to y6. Therefore, we have 6 equations and 6 unknowns. The equation system is nonlinear because of the presence of the y squared term, and therefore we can use Newton method to solve it. I'm not going to go through the Newton method, etc. It is for you to apply it and see whether you can reproduce the answer that I'll be showing in the next slide. So before getting there, what we will do is we will kind of simplify some of the equations we have got. So here I'm using equations D and F. Equation D said that y5 is equal to y3. So I'm making use of that equation and I'm plugging that into equation F. So wherever you see y5, you can replace it by y3 because y5 is equal to y3. So when y5 is equal to y3, this term will drop out. So y5 plus y3 can be written as 2y3 because y5 is equal to y3. So the first term in equation F will become 1 by 6 2y3 minus 2y4 by h squared minus 2y4 squared is equal to 0. Since equation D has been utilized, we will not consider equation D further because the information incorporated in it has been put into equation F to generate equation F star. And also from equation C, which is this, we can generate this equation. So y2 minus y0 is equal to 12 times h times y1 minus 1. So basically what I've done is I've taken this 2h here and taken it to the right hand side. So 6 times 2h will be 12h times y1 minus 1. That will be equal to y2 minus y0. So I can get an expression for y0 in terms of y2, y1, etc. and h as you see here. So wherever I see y0, for example in equation E, here I see y0, so I can replace y0 with this expression that we see here. So when you do all that and with some patience and a little bit of carefulness, we can get equation E star. So I cannot use equation C and D further because the information incorporated in that has been put into the other equations. But that's no problem because now we have equations A, B, E star, F star. So we have 4 independent equations and we have only 4 symbols now. So if you look at E, you have only y1 and y2. If you look at equation F, you have only y3 and y4. If you look at equation B, you have only y4, y2 and y3. If you look at equation A, you have y3, y1 and y2. So we have the unknown symbols now, only y1, y2, y3, y4. So the 4 unknowns are there. We have 4 equations, A, B, E star, F star. So now what you can do is you can assemble these 4 equations by putting in the numerical values, etc. So you can see these equations are nonlinear because of the presence of these kinds of terms. We can solve it using the Newton method, or you can make use of an appropriate function in MATLAB, a built-in function in MATLAB like solve, fsolve, etc. So I leave that to you because we have looked at the Newton method in great detail. This would be the Jacobian if you really want to recall those kinds of things. And anyway, when you implement the Newton method and solve these 4 equations, you're going to get y1 is equal to 0.8273, y2 is 0.5929, y3 is 0.4550, and y4 is 0.3658. I've started with these initial guesses. Remember, when we work with the Newton method, we have to have initial guesses for the unknowns. So I started with initial guesses of 0.8, 0.6, 0.4, and 0.2 for y1, y2, y3, and y4 respectively. Because I know the concentration will fall as you go from the entrance of the reactor to the exit of the reactor. That is why I gave these numbers in the decreasing trend. Also, I know that y is the dimensionless concentration, so the value of y's will be between 1 and 0. So I started with these values and this is the solution that I got. We have learned through this example that it is very easy to handle boundary conditions that are specified in terms of derivatives. If the ODE is nonlinear, then the resulting system of equations, as we have said many times in the past, is going to be nonlinear, but that's no problem. We have the versatile Newton method to solve it. I'll stop here. Thank you.